there, and a warm welcome to Frugalfull. My name's Lara. This is a frugal living and budgeting channel. And in today's video, I'm going to have a chat to you about going through my kitchen cupboards and having a wee bit of a stock check and check out my inventory for the month of May. So as you know, this is year two. As you know, if you've seen my videos before, if this is your first time, then welcome and thank you so much for watching. If you've seen my videos before, you've probably heard that this is my second year into low spend. So it's low spend year 2, month 5. Wow, can you believe that already? So I'm doing like the bare minimum food spend at the moment. Previously, I'd always set myself a £25 a week food and essentials budget and try to ensure that I stick to that weekly budget limit wherever possible for food and essentials. So that's food, cleaning items, household items like toilet rolls and stuff, toiletries, that kind of stuff. So at the moment though, April, May, I am doing this thing where I'm just trying to spend the absolute bare minimum possible, really cut back, and just try and use up the stuff that I've got, hence doing this. You'll see in previous videos that I've done stock checks before. Recently I did a freezer stock check, and you'll see in batch cooking videos and things that I've been trying to make what I had in the freezer and bargain as fresh things I picked up in April and things that I'd picked up for free from a very, very amazing local food service. All these things that I'd made stretch and just not set foot in supermarkets wherever possible to try and avoid overspending on food. In March, I blew my budget on food. So I've really pared it back at the moment. And this is why it's really good to remind ourselves from time to time what's in the cupboards, and just really consciously make an effort to actually shop from our cupboards, fridge and freezers first, and plan meals around that as well. And where possible, I'm trying to batch cook around that at the moment to not only save on money, but save on time and save on energy in general. And also to help build these healthy habits with portion control, healthier eating, and reducing food waste from an environmental perspective as well. So whatever way you look at it, it's all a big win-win. And I've made a wee note here of the things that so far I've picked up for the month of May. So tomato puree stock up, jam stock up, eggs, coffee and decaf coffee, some milks. So at the moment I'm getting reduced price soya milks. I'd really rather be getting things like almond milk or oat milk that are a wee bit more expensive, that are more wholesome ingredients. But as I say, at the moment I'm doing a thing where I cut back, and the 50p soya milks, the ingredients aren't that different to the ones that are double the price. So for the time being I'm just doing that, but I've actually cut back on my milk consumption now, and I'm using milk for cereal or smoothies once a day, but rationing the amount. And then that way it's like a 300ml a day limit. And then that way I'm cutting back on the amount of dairy, because I think that's been adding a lot of extra hidden calories. Also, milk powder for when I have visitors who would like milk, and toilet rolls. So these are things that so far I've picked up, but I'm doing my utmost to not buy any other things in the supermarket and make what I've got last as far as possible. I will say though that I have separate sinking funds for socialising and for things like going out for the day. Like if I had a wee bit of food or a coffee while I'm out for the day, there's separate sinking funds. So as long as I stay within the sinking funds for these other areas, I'm still allowing myself to do things like that, because frugality doesn't mean doing nothing and feeling completely deprived and miserable. You know, like, it's a very personal thing what we spend on and what we set our spending limits to. It's a very personal thing. It can be very much a circumstantial thing. And my heart goes out to anyone that's in a situation where they've got absolutely zero choice but to be extremely frugal all the time. I hope that situation changes for you. But I do feel that it's a very, like, for people who are adopting frugality as a lifestyle choice, it's just a very personal journey, and I don't think there's right or wrongs. I think you need to do what's right for you. And we learn as we go and as we grow, and that's all part of the journey. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you what's in my cupboards and how I'm going to rearrange it and keep a record of it, and how that's going to help me with food prepping for the month of May. See you soon. First of all, we've got the carbs. There are plenty of carbs here, but they're going to last me because I don't need to use them all right away, and they've got good shelf life on them, so they're going to keep for a good bit yet. So there's 2 packs of risotto rice. There's 2 packs of long grain rice. There's basmati brown and long grain brown, I should say. There's a big thing of sushi rice. I've also got wakame seaweed and nori seaweed for when I'm having Japanese rice dishes. There's some kinds of pasta. There's some very sweet smiley face pasta, spaghetti, 2 lots of lasagna sheets, because if you've seen other videos that I've done, I like making a healthier version of lasagna in the slow cooker, which has a lot more vegetables and less pasta, so it makes these last a good bit longer. I've got a bag of plain flour, and I forgot to pull it out, but I've also got a plastic bag with opened flour inside it as well. I think it's self-raising. There might actually be a wee bit of self-raising and a wee bit of plain in the bag actually. So I'll use that for example if I make drop pancakes or something like that. There's some muesli and there's some porridge oats for having for parts of breakfasts. Back to the Japanese theme. As you know, I love Japanese food. 2 lots of udon noodles and 3 lots of soba noodles. So there's 4 per pack. So 4, 8, 12, 16. So that's 20 dinners there, because it's just 1 pack of these per meal. They're portioned out already. So that's 20 meals just there. Like I say, this stuff is going to last me a long time. I'm not that much of a carb monster. And then I've got 3 lots of couscous, which will last a long time as well. But I'm actually finding it difficult to decide how to use the couscous. And I do need to use it up because some of it's past its best before. I'll still use things if they're past best before, as long as they're not past use by. Within reason, I'll obviously check and make sure things are okay if they're past the best before recommended date. But if you've got any ideas about nice, delicious, healthy, frugal dishes that can involve using up couscous, please let me know, because I'm always at a loss what to do with it. I know it's good for me, but it's not my favourite thing in the world, so I need to use up my surplus. Finally, there's this Japanese style rice paper. I got this during the Lidl special Japanese themed week. I didn't actually come across this when I lived in Japan, but I think I've had it when I've had a Chinese meal before. But anyway, it's going to be fantastic because it's a really great way to use salad ingredients, as you can see. But it's something I'm not very experienced at, making spring rolls. But I'm very excited to give it a try and watch this space. It can be part of a future video, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you at some point over the summer. Speaking of sharing things over the summer, this bit here, this is all different kinds of proteins to use up. But before I show you that, first I stuck that in here. I need to use this up. It's called Maca powder. Got this reduced ages ago from I think it was TK Maxx, organic maca powder. It's meant to be very healthy. It's meant to be very good for improving energy levels, which I need right now. Yeah, here we go. Maca's an ancient Peruvian root that Incan warriors were said to have consumed for stamina and endurance. So there you go. I'm wanting to try and use this up. Apparently you can have it in yogurts, smoothies, and you can add it to homemade snack bars. So I'm thinking that what I'm doing today is I'm going through everything and doing a stock check and writing down my inventory, and hopefully that will then jog my memory. I'll put a star beside things I want to use quicker, and hopefully it'll actually remind me to get this out and use it. But this is another thing I'd love to do with you on the video on the channel, because as you can see, this is past its best before, but I think it will still be fine. I'm willing to give it a go. I can always check it as I go. So I'm thinking of trying making this maca hummus. So that'll use up some of the chickpeas as well. It'll involve some of the trusty garlic, some of my frozen lemons, olive oil. I don't have tahini paste. I might make a modified version with no tahini. We'll see. Or I might buy some tahini. Oh, look at that. Spice it up by adding paprika or cumin to the mix. This will be a good experiment that we can do on the channel together. Looking forward to that. Right, now on to proteins. I got a couple of these in Holland & Barrett reduced recently, down to just 49p. I've never heard of these. Let me know whether you have or not. They're called Carlin peas. So they're a type of dried pea, sometimes called pigeon peas or black badgers. But I just feel that these kind of things are a really valuable source of protein. I'd like to have a lot more plant-based proteins again, like I used to do, and get back into that a bit more. So I've got things like those. And first of all, to use up is some broth mix in here. And in this one, some yellow split peas and some chickpeas. I've also got more broth mix, chickpeas, 2 bags of lentils, and some yellow split peas behind here. So these are all protein sources that I'm going to very gradually, again, work my way through. Doesn't need to happen overnight. And then there's also these valuable sources of protein which are seeds based. So there's 2 lots of shelled hemp seeds to sprinkle on things like smoothies, into yogurts, into soups, that kind of thing. Again, I need to remind myself that I have these things so that I actually use them. So I think I'm going to stick one of these, and I might even stick the maca stuff in the fridge, in the door of the fridge, as a wee prompt. I've also got these seeds to use up first off. Some pumpkin seeds, hemp, and chia seeds. And then once those are used up, there's the hemp. It'll take a while to get through them, and then I'll probably buy some sunflower seeds after that. But I think these will all last a good long while first. And then on to nuts. I've got open some cashews, some pistachios, some coconut, and some ground almonds. Chopped almonds, I mean. I think that's it. Yeah. So I'm going to work my way through those a wee bit at a time. And then I have some chestnuts, some cashew nuts, and some walnuts here. So there's a good supply of nuts in the cupboard. And then I've got dried fruit, sultanas, and gojis. My mum gave me this big bag of gojis. Thank you, Mum. What I've done is I've got in my jar over there next to my cereals, I've got some mixed sultanas and gojis, and I'm just using them up that way gradually. Also some figs and prunes, because sometimes they're a good thing to put in the porridge. So that's a good option, having them as well. I'll get this lot back in the cupboard, and then I'll show you the condiments and jars of stuff like that. So now we're on to things like baking kind of things and sauces and condiments, that type of thing. So first of all, there's some honey and there's some nut butter, spare ones, because I've got some in the fridge too. Some spare sugar. There's sugar up there next to Zuccarina, the dancing zucchini ballerina. And then there's a bunch of different kind of baking things like orange oil it's called? Orange extract, vanilla extract, some spooky Halloween sprinkles, cinnamon sticks, ginger, yeast extract type or baking yeast stuff. Yeah, ground cinnamon as well as the sticks, ginger cloves, more ginger, cardamom pods. I think that's it. Oh, and baking powder. Did I say that? But I've also got 2 already opened baking powders in my cupboard under the sink where I keep cleaning supplies, because baking powder is a fantastic frugal cleaning thing. And then, oh, coffee cheers. Also, some curry paste, mustard, coconut milk. So I've already got coconut milk in the freezer to use, but what I do is when I'm having coconut milk in a curry, I'll open the tin and I'll split it into portions and freeze a load of it, because as you can see, it's very high in saturated fat. So I will use the smallest possible portion, only if it calls for it, like if I'm making a big batch of like a lovely Thai curry or something. But I'll freeze a lot of it, so 1 tin lasts me for many, many batch cooks. There's loads of balsamic vinegar here, lots of apple cider vinegar. I use a little bit of apple cider vinegar to wash my vegetables, just to make sure it helps with getting the pesticides off when you're scrubbing with the vegetable brush. If you soak the things in a bowl of water with some apple cider vinegar, and it's a more natural way to clean the veggies and get any nasty things off. Plenty of malt vinegar. They're spares. I've got some in this cupboard down here, I'll show you in a wee minute. Malt vinegar is part of fish and chips with salt and vinegar on. Delish. Red wine and white wine vinegars. Over here we've got tomato ketchup and some Japanese type of sauces like soy sauce, yakiniku sauce, ponzu, yuzu, and some rice vinegar, which is good for making sushi rice. And then finally, spare Lea and Perrins, spare salad dressing, and a peri-peri lemon and herb sauce that I really don't know what I'm going to do with yet. I'll figure it out at some point. And then I'll show you what's under here. 2 seconds. As I said, under here I've got some more malt vinegar. I've got cooking spray, the spare stuff up the back as well. Oh no, hang on. No, one of these is a spare, so I'll put it up with the other stuff. Is that the opened one or is this the opened one? Well, I think they're both new actually, that's fine. Right, where was I? Sorry. Cooking spray, sunflower oil, olive oil behind that. And then in here, there's all my seasonings and things, chili powder, curry powder, herbs and spices, apart from the ones on the rack, and apart from my blocks of Japanese curry powder in here, and my stock cubes in here. So it's looking a lot better, guys. I've got my Japanese bowls here and my 2 Totoro Japanese bowls for things like miso soup and noodles and rice and stuff like that. They were away at the back of the cupboard, but I've got them at the front so I can actually just use them and enjoy them now. And I've now got a decent space there to keep these sauces and condiments and things. The other things are down here and they're sealed for security so that nothing tries to eat them at any point. Hopefully never. So finally, I wanted to show you plenty of different diluting juices and nice cordial. Some cartons of wee juice. I've still got to figure out where these are going to live. I can't find a space I'm happy with yet. I've got 2 lots of Slim Fast, which I need to get into the habit of using because I want to do what I can to consume far fewer calories. I think I might retry the black coffee and the milk just in a smoothie thing for a while. Got some multivitamins here. Tablets first, then I've got my effervescent ones. I've got some magnesium for trying to improve energy levels. And then I'm going to use up these cod liver oil capsules. I'm not a fan of them, but they need used. And then I think I'm going to get some vitamin E capsules after that. And then finally, for days that I do any kind of fasting, I have got these electrolyte tablets with added vitamins, just to help keep myself hydrated. So I'll find a home for those and go put these other things back in the cupboard. Yeah, plus also continue to record what I've got in the cupboard in my wee book, just using up an old notebook. So this is what I've got in the cupboard down here. Tins of beans, baked beans, chopped tomatoes, some soup, some red cabbage and peppers. And then I've got a few things that at the moment I'm just storing in here that wouldn't normally live in here, which includes spare flour, gravy granules, hot chocolate, some dried fruits of different kinds, and some bags of lentils. I'm going to make a note of my carbs in the cupboard, using the video so far to help remind me. Likewise with the nuts, pulses and seeds. And then, like I said, the stock cubes, curry cubes. There's a load of food bags under there. And I'll add in the condiments and stuff like that. I think, yeah, that's it so far for this part. On the way to do that, and I'll be back soon. Found a space for these just till I get them used up. So Slim Fast, spare Slim Fast, spare vitamins and whatchamacallits, not enzymes, electrolytes, that's the ones. And then here, vitamins and electrolytes. And that'll get me to use them up because I'll be seeing them and they'll be bugging me because they create clutter. So that'll get me into the habit of using them. And then I can find somewhere else to store them that doesn't get in the way. So there you have it. I've found a home for everything. Everything has its place. Got a record of what my items are that I'm just using up this scrap paper, this old notebook, to keep a record of that. Also done the same with all my toiletries as well, so that I can see what's needed. I do know that I'm going to need to stock up on sun cream soon because I'm going to run out soon, and I'd like to try and get a face cream, like a face moisturiser. I've still got some moisturiser to use up, but I'd like to get some for next time where it's actually got SPF. And I'd like to get cream for under my eyes that has SPF, and also just generally good anti-aging under eye cream. Anyway, let's get back onto what we're talking about. The stock check is super handy for toiletries and for the food because I'll be able to meal plan accordingly now, batch cook accordingly, and it's going to help with portion control. I had been planning to do a food diary, and I had been planning to share my food diary each week as part of my weight loss journey. But I was experiencing a bit of channel burnout last month, and I've got to the point where really I just need to get myself into a rhythm with my food and figure that out for myself. And once a month I'm checking in on the weight loss journey now instead of weekly, and having a general chat about how it's going. I think I tried to aim to do too much too quickly and do too much in the way of videos about it, and I overdid it. And my energy levels are not very good in general anyway right now. So I have to be aware of that and just pace myself with all things. So at the moment, I'm not going to do like a kind of food diary where I'm sharing everything. I'm just going to try and do what I can day to day to help myself keep on track with small baby steps. Report back to you once a month about how the weight loss journey is going and what steps have been helping so far. Thanking you for any tips and ideas that you shared along the way, which are always very valued. But this is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a long journey, so it's lots of baby steps in the right direction. It's not about changing everything all at once, because we can't just flick a switch and do that, especially when it's a lifetime of habits to break. It's slow and steady wins the race. So it's just taking it slower with the videos, taking it slower with making changes, and just generally having the intention and the goals there and being mindful and doing it gradually. Again, doing it my way. For some people, maybe they can make a sudden switch, but for me, I'm needing to do little slow steps, staying mindful, knowing what I'm aiming for, having compassion when a plan doesn't quite go to plan, and just slowing it down with how I do the videos, slowing it down with how I do the food planning, etc. And then that way, hopefully, these things can gradually build on each other, snowball effect, and habits that stick for the long term. Because that's what this is. It's a long-term path. It's not a quick fix diet. It's a long-term aim for healthier ways. So thank you very much for watching today, and I'll be back again soon with more batch cooking and more chats about frugality around food shopping and other areas of life. I hope you're having a fantastic April so far, and that you're acing your budget this month, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Best wishes to you. Bye.